We're used to Six Rangers being the staple to Power Rangers, but Japan didn't have that for many years. Even when they first used them, they were just considered not that important. They didn't have a main cast credit for the actor, they were basically guests. I always enjoyed them because they could be a foil to the team, whether being evil like Burai Killer and Dragon Ranger, weird like Shurikenja, or like Naoto, who you weren't sure what his position was. They have some negatives. It increases the cast, which a lot of times Six Rangers don't get to do much. They're used as trump cards at the last minute, or they go with the whole super strong, can't be beaten, but 2 episodes later the villains don't care anymore trope. Shurikenja. Everyone knows that I like Shurikenja, so of course I'm going to pick him. Shurikenja is very unique to Sentai. We don't know who he really is. He was left as this weird mystery. Every time he appeared in the show, he took the form of civilians. It's a great way to blend into crowds, also a cool way to bring back past Sentai actors. He's just as smart as Orbo. He's obsessed with baseball. I love the whole weird English-Japanese stuff he did. His death was one of those moments which is used in the 10 years after movie, but he's not perfect. I really hated that we didn't get all the information on him, or how he magically comes back to life in random anniversary episodes. He's one of the least used Six Rangers on Sentai, plus he's kind of stuck up, but I still enjoyed his ways. Who else uses a baseball bat, microphone, and spinning bees to screw with monsters? Bull Black. This is a tough one. Who do I give credit to? Original Bull Black or Hyuga? You just can't pick one over the other. I connected to the character because of Bull Black's revenge for his brother's death. You see this character that's in pain, but at the same time you're conflicted with him endangering the Gingaman team in order to accomplish the goal. You're at that line of hating him and loving him, then we find out he took Hyuga's body. You're getting even more confused. He saved his life, but now he's using him as a puppet and going after the lights of Ginga. But he did eventually understand what he was doing was wrong. His spirit died saving the planet, but he did the right thing. Bull Black wasn't a bad guy. He knew his powers could still be used, so he gave them to Hyuga. He's also a good character in his own right. We know he's noble, dying for his brother, doing anything he could to help, including help out Bull Black. It also brought back the brother dynamic that was used on Zyuranger. Roma wasn't closed off anymore, so I started to enjoy him too. Plus, who doesn't like Bull Black's suit? It was a really great design. I love that his changer was just the sword. One of the things I hated Lost Galaxy had to do. Kiba Ranger. This is where the Justin character was spawned from. I really loved Kiba Ranger's backstory. He was tied to the main villains, had 2 secrets. One that was kept by his mother, and not telling the other Die Rangers that he was Kiba Ranger. Byakko always spoke for him, which added a companion to the hero. How do we teach a kid to be a hero? Give him a talking sword. I also love that Ko wasn't your goody two-shoes kid. He had a perverted side, constantly annoying everyone. In a way, he was like Clark Kent. But over time, Ko grew up. At first, being a superhero is all fun and games, but when his mother was taken captive, that was it. He stopped being a jerk and went into serious mode. For being the first Kid Ranger, he got a lot of stuff. A white tiger that can function on its own, can combine and replace Ryu Ranger. The only thing that sucked was that due to the actor being a kid, he was missing for a ton of episodes and dropped with no real care. Vulcan Silver. Eiji shares a few things with Ko and Bull Black. Eiji comes into the show as some weird magical warrior that has to take out some enemies his people hated, so he didn't really care who got in his way. This causes him to not really trust people. It was a combination of him feeling different, which was because he's part Ashu, so Eiji doesn't know what to do. He's fighting them, but he's part of them. Eiji clearly doesn't want to be with people, rejecting the Bokengers a few times, but eventually became one of the most important characters for the season. You saw him finally grow to like his friends and respect Akashi, even when he had to deal with that Peach baby. I say Eiji is one of the more balanced Six Rangers in Super Sentai. He wasn't overused, had good focus episodes, plus worked well as a substitute when Boken Red was unavailable. Shinken Gold. Mysterious Ranger that pops in, check. Overpowered for a few episodes, check. Complete goofball and is trying to make Takeru laugh, what? That's why I like Genta. I was expecting him to just be a goofball, but he really does it for the sake of his friend. Everything he's done was to prove that he can be just as good as Takeru and to bring his friend back from this closed-off cave of responsibility. Genta is probably one of the most loyal Rangers ever. You could see it when Kaoru came into the show. He hated her not because she took over the Red Ranger position, he hated her for the fact that Genta was trying everything on Takaru for him to open up, and just right when he's starting to do that, she comes in and reverts him back. So Genta was mad, but eventually he saw what she brought. Genta was also a great undercarry character. He started off with nothing. All he had was Ika origami. He had to build his changer, weapons, and Ebi origami from scratch. This is impressive to say the least. On top of all that, run a sushi stand, keep track of Takaru, and train. We always see him as the weird sidekick. Genta's more than that.
Deca break.
The poster team of dysfunctionals. That's how I always sum up Deca Ranger. These people are great at their jobs, I'm not saying they're bad, but they all live in their bubbles, so the teamwork doesn't always line up. Who had it the worst? Tetsu. He's this super elite, knows everything, can do everything, so he'd rather do missions alone. Tetsu didn't like the Deca Rangers. He respected the chain of command and took orders from Kruger, but saw the other 5 as underlings. He was a real jerk at the beginning just because he's perfect. And you know what? Tetsu was actually really good. He does a lot of stuff better than the Deca Rangers, but not everything. The biggest problem was teamwork. That's why he ended up staying with them. Once Bon and the others finally showed what a group can do, what determination can accomplish, he wanted that. Tetsu finally understood he wasn't perfect. He wanted to learn what made the Deca Rangers tick. How could 5 people outmatched beat the villain? This helped him. He eventually became the boss in the 10 Years Later movie. He grew to respect everyone. He couldn't be a leader if he didn't respect the people around him.
How'd you shine?
The Maji Rangers were basically winging it. All they had to tell them how to do anything was from Mandara Boy. They were rudderless. Their mother was presumed dead, their father gone before that. You could see the team really needed help on many occasions. Luckily, they freed Hikaru from his spell. He became the father figure, wanted to teach them how to fight and use magic right, improve on the teamwork, give them the tough lessons that Mandara Boy couldn't do, as well as take some lessons from them. He's great at all kinds of jobs. He gives off that fun but stern father figure role well. It was pretty interesting that he married Urara. Smokey was a fun companion, I love the train motif, and he's a saint in Magitopia as Sungel. It gives him that what are you made of mystery. As a 6th Ranger, probably the most simplistic one out there.
Time fire.
Naoto was a loose cannon. He's another one of those, do I root for him or hate him? He does what he does because the world isn't kind. He only got to where he is by pushing through BS. You admired him because he got into those rich people's schools on actual talent and skill, versus them just getting in because they have pockets. Tetsuya was trying to be his friend. Even that didn't convince him. From Naoto's point of view, Tetsuya could have been toying with him, talking to him because of a prank or lost bet, instead of seeing that he never cared where you came from, rich or poor, just your merits. When he found out he was Time Red, that drove him over the edge. He's worked his way through the City Guardians, then he just sees Tetsuya be a ranger like that? I would have been pissed off too. So when he saw that chance of getting V-Rex, he took it. He didn't care, he wanted to prove that he was better than Tetsuya. It all funnels down to misunderstandings. Both actually liked each other and could have been friends, only if their egos and perceptions didn't get in the way. We knew he was a good man, took care of birds, eventually listening to Scion from that screw-up, ultimately paying with his life, saving the world. Without the V-Rex and V-Commander, Tetsuya wouldn't have survived. The only thing that sucked was that we didn't get to see good Naoto for long before his death.
Hey, Silver.
Yutsuku was a breath of fresh air. Most presidents of a company are strict idiots that endanger their people because they want to get results faster, or just to save money. But he's different. Yutsuku wants to help out. I mean, he did it in weird ways, like toying with the other Mega Rangers. I think he just does that because he was tired of living his life as a stereotypical boss. So he probably went, screw it, I'm gonna have fun. This explains why Professor Kubota is angry all the time at the Mega Rangers. When he was recruiting people, he'd hope they all be calm and collective, but Kenta ends up being just like his boss. It also explains why the program was hidden in a video game. You're leaving the world's safety to teens and kids. Reflexes aren't everything. Yutsuka wanted to prove a point on both sides. He wanted Kubota to respect Zany and see it as a viable way of fighting. He then wanted to show Kenta and the others, chiefs and presidents aren't all these suits in the back and do nothing.
Okay, Silver.
35 years has passed. We've had older Rangers, Kid Rangers, Fat Rangers, Alien Rangers, Robot Rangers. So what type of character can you do that's new and interesting? Make a Fan Ranger. Guy is probably the most insane character on Super Sentai. He loves everything, from the history to the names of the robos. He's the closest you can get to the audience without breaking the fourth wall. If we saw Magishine pop up and use Smokey, Guy would drool. He knows everyone's history, that walking encyclopedia. He's a great asset to the Gokaigers. Most of them have no idea what ranger is what, so they make mistakes. They'll use this ranger, but the powers don't work on this monster, or he'll just get the wrong ranger key because some characters have similar names. His will to do good allowed him to access or create new powers. His gold mode was his want to use all the 6 rangers together. He didn't want to choose one over the other just because he didn't want to say this ranger is bad and this ranger is better. That's why the Go-On Wings were merged. His powers stem from the 3 fallen rangers, Dragon Ranger, Time Fire, and Abarai Killer. He has a connection to them. Guy has a pure heart that they trust. It also showed how much Burai, Naoto, and Makoto changed through their seasons and them reflecting after death. They were once evil or self-focused, now they became better people. Picking Guy was probably their penance. Guy also accepted the Gokaigers. He knows whoever uses those powers like they did, they're good people, even when they have this cold exterior. When Sentai introduced X1 Mask, that really added the spark the series needed. I always like characters that stand out, good or bad. Without the 6 Ranger idea, we wouldn't have had Naoto, Burai, Gosei Knight, and Utsu. They help out the show with different mechas and storylines. They could be the outsider, an alien, a foreign character. The ideas are endless. Who are your favorite 6th or equivalent? Do you like the self-sacrificing Naoto or the bumbling show-offs like Genta? I'll continue through my favorite Rangers. Next up, the colored blue.